Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to tackle a term that gets thrown around a lot in the business world, but what does it actually mean? Enterprise architecture. I know, it sounds super complex, but at its core, it's really all about bringing some order to the chaos and building a smarter, way more efficient organization. So let's just dive right in.
All right, let's kick things off with a scene that probably feels a little too real for a lot of us. We're talking about the hidden cost of all that tech chaos that builds up over time in a company.
So, does any of this sound familiar? You've got, 3, 4 different apps that all basically do the same thing. And when you need to find a critical piece of data, it's like a treasure hunt, right? And the IT projects, they always seem to go over budget, don't they? It's this constant battle where the shiny new software just refuses to talk to the old systems. And that just leads to one thing: frustrating failures and way too much downtime.
Now, it's so easy to just shrug this off and say, well, that's just how things are. But what's the real cost of all this digital mess? I promise you, it's a whole lot more than just a daily headache.
It's really a domino effect, and this is the fallout. When you have poor IT planning, it's not just messy, it's incredibly expensive. Your operational costs just balloon. You're dealing with constant system failures. And think about it, with so many different systems, you've opened up a ton of doors for security breaches. And the kicker? Even when you roll out a brand new tool, nobody really uses it because it's confusing or it just doesn't fit how they work. The end result? Big, painful disruptions to the entire business.
Okay, so we've seen the chaos, we've felt the pain. Now let's pivot and talk about the solution. Let's introduce the master plan that's designed to bring clarity and strategy to all this complexity. And here it is. Enterprise architecture, or EA for short. Now, what's really important to get here is that EA isn't just some tech thing. It's a business strategy. It's a structured way to make absolutely sure that your IT systems, your daily processes, and all your infrastructure are all moving in the exact same direction as your biggest business goals.
The best way to think about it is like this. You would never ever build a skyscraper without a detailed blueprint, right? One that shows how the plumbing, the electrical, the foundation all have to work together. Well, EA is that master blueprint for your entire organization. It shows how every single piece connects and supports the whole structure. So what does this blueprint actually do for you? Well, first, it acts like a bridge, making sure your tech is actually helping you meet your business goals. It also works like a filter, cutting out waste by getting rid of all those duplicate systems we talked about. And finally, it serves as a compass, helping you make smarter decisions and guiding you through massive changes, like a digital transformation. So, now we have this blueprint, but how do we actually use it to build something solid and reliable? Let's get practical and look at the process.
It all starts with making smart, structured choices. A perfect example is picking new software. Instead of just going with your gut or choosing whatever's popular, EA brings a real method to the madness. You start by figuring out what you actually need. Then you research the market, evaluate your top options, test them out properly, and only then do you make that final, informed decision.
Okay, but a huge part of that evaluation is cost. And I'm not just talking about the sticker price you see on the invoice. So, how do you figure out the true long-term cost of bringing in a new system?
The answer is something called total cost of ownership, or TCO. And this concept is absolutely critical. TCO forces you to look at the full financial picture of a system over its entire life. We're talking everything from the purchase price to installation, maintenance, training your staff, and even the cost to eventually retire it.
You know, that initial purchase price, that's just the tip of the iceberg. The real costs, things like support contracts, maintenance, employee training, and lost productivity from downtime, those are all hidden below the surface. TCO is the tool that lets you see that entire iceberg, bringing all those hidden expenses into the light.
Okay, so you've picked your software using TCO analysis. Now what? Well, the implementation itself follows a clear life cycle, all guided by your EA blueprint. You start by aligning with the big picture business vision. Then you analyze your current setup, that's your as-is state, and then you design your ideal future state, the to-be. After that, it's all about mapping out the steps to get from A to B, implementing the solution, and then moving into this ongoing cycle of operating and constantly improving.
Now, a super important piece that makes all this work, especially when you have a mix of old and new systems, is something called middleware. Just think of it as the digital glue for your company's tech. It's the software that sits right in the middle, acting like a universal translator, letting all your different apps talk to each other and share data, even if they were built decades apart. It's what holds the whole thing together.
All right, so you've used the blueprint, you've built the system. But the job is not done. Not even close. The best architects know that you also have to constantly maintain and optimize the machine for the long haul.
And one of the most powerful ways to optimize is through system consolidation. I mean, the before and after here really tells the whole story, doesn't it? On the left, you've got this complex mess of redundant systems, high costs, and management headaches. Then on the right, after consolidation, you have a streamlined, simplified setup that costs way less to run and actually makes better use of all your resources. It's a no-brainer. Now, the good news is you don't have to invent all these management strategies from scratch. There are well-established frameworks out there to guide you. You've got ITIL4, which is all about delivering IT as a top-notch service. There's COBIT, which helps align your IT goals with business strategy and manage risk. And of course, NIST provides the gold standard for managing cybersecurity risks. These are basically the playbooks for running a professional IT shop.
So, we've brought order to the chaos. We've optimized our operations. But enterprise architecture isn't just about fixing today's problems. It's about building an organization that is truly ready for whatever comes next. And that future is evolving so fast. So what's on the horizon? We're seeing this huge shift toward AI-native architecture, where AI is baked into the very core of a system, not just tacked on as an afterthought. We're also seeing the rise of the composable enterprise, where businesses can basically build new services on the fly using modular, Lego-like components. And intelligent edge computing is changing the game by processing data closer to where it's created, giving us real-time insights like never before. All of this really leads to a fundamental shift in how we think about technology, and this quote just nails it. IT is no longer a support function, but a strategic enabler of innovation and growth. Enterprise architecture is the discipline that turns that powerful idea into reality. It makes technology a true partner in driving business success.
So as we wrap things up here, I want to leave you with one final question to really think about for your own company. Is your organization built to last, kind of locked into the rigid systems of the past, or is it built to change, with a flexible architecture that allows it to adapt, to innovate, and to thrive no matter what the future throws at it? Think about it.